At 11:43 p.m. on March 22nd, a 911 dispatcher in Johnston County, North Carolina, received a call that would haunt investigators for months. The caller hung up immediately without saying a word. Following protocol, the dispatcher called back. A calm male voice answered, 53-year-old Christopher Pugh, claiming he never dialed 911. But in the background, barely audible, a woman's voice could be heard pleading, "Why do you want to kill me? I need help." That woman was 54-year-old Teresa Adams-Pugh, grandmother of 15, fashion YouTuber, and the life of every family party. Within minutes, both would be dead. The man who claimed had just taken both their lives in a way that would shock a community that thought they knew this couple. For over 20 years, Teresa and Christopher appeared to be the perfect marriage, posting loving videos together, building successful businesses, hosting family gatherings so large that cars lined their entire street. But behind the camera, behind the smiles, behind 2 decades of what everyone thought was wedded bliss, something had been brewing. Something so devastating that it would end in gunshots heard by police officers standing outside their home. How does a love story that lasted 20 years end in such unthinkable violence? And what warning signs did everyone miss? Teresa Renee Adams was born on June 29, 1970 in Moore County, North Carolina. She was a woman who radiated life in everything she did. After graduating from Fuquay-Varina High School and attending Wake Technical Community College, Teresa built a career managing operations at ARS before taking a position at UPS. But her real passion lived online, where she connected with women across the country through her YouTube channel. Her videos were a masterclass in confidence and style. Every upload featured new hairstyles, outfit combinations, and beauty tips delivered with the warmth of a favorite aunt. Teresa served as secretary at St. Anna Freewell Baptist Church, where she'd been a member since childhood. She raised 4 children and celebrated 15 grandchildren. And every Thanksgiving, her home became the epicenter of family joy. Her mother, Marion Shaw, would later say,
"Fun-loving, the life of our family party.
Yeah, Superwoman, yeah! My people, my mother."
In one of her videos, you can see how much of a beautiful soul she was as she talks to her audience.
Hey girls, so today I am coming through with a fun outfit of the day. I am 53, but let me tell you something. Just because we're in our 50s does not mean that we cannot wear our crop tops and our mini skirts. We just have to make sure that we do it classy like. You know what I'm saying? So I thought I'd bring this fun outfit for you today. I jazz it up a little bit. And don't be afraid to put your stuff on, girl. Put your stuff on and wear it. Just make sure you know that it's appropriate and that you fix it up, okay?
This was Teresa. Authentic, relatable, real. She made women feel seen and valued, especially those over 50 who society often overlooked. But Teresa's life had known profound pain. In 2020, she lost a child. A devastating blow that she would reference in her later videos as the year that started my ups and downs. Despite this tragedy, Teresa continued to inspire. She frequently went online to talk about things that could positively impact those who followed her.
What I see in the Black community is that a lot of times we just get comfortable and just give up and just say, forget it. When I go to the gym, there is predominantly Caucasian older people, and I'm talking 70s, 80s with canes, walkers, blah, blah, blah. I never see Black people like that. So I want to encourage my brothers and sisters, take care of yourself. I don't care. Do what you can. I always say do what you can, because there have been times, throughout my life that depression set in sometimes, and sometimes I couldn't, do what I wanted to do. I did what I could. Pain set in sometimes. I couldn't do what I wanted to do. That I did what I could. So it is so important that you do what you can. I will always be a cheerleader for doing what you can and push yourself.
Then there was Christopher Pugh, the man who seemed to embody the American dream. At 53, the Sanderson High School graduate had built an empire from nothing. After studying at Livingstone College, He spent 16 years as a licensed general contractor, eventually founding CB Pugh Enterprises, LLC. In 2008, he launched the Pugh Builders GC Academy in Raleigh with a mission statement that read, "Building strong, creating with heart." Christopher's academy promised to transform lives by teaching construction skills to veterans, retirees, and entrepreneurs. He worked with the city of Raleigh on affordable housing projects in East College Park, the same neighborhood where he grew up. This work meant something deeply personal to him.
This is Chris Pugh, founder of the Pugh Builders GC Academy, and we're inviting you out to our September 23rd General Contractor Seminar.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Chris Pugh coming to you this afternoon. I am the founder of Lost Souls, which is a initiative to reach out to the 23 million individuals who have, made mistakes in their life, collected felonies in America, and, have seemed to be lost out, can't find our footing, not able to become better men than we feel we are. So, I've been fortunate and blessed to find my way back from the souls of being lost. I'm a successful builder in Raleigh, North Carolina. I build homes, from $200,000 all the way up to $7-8 million. It's a trade that I took on some mentors years ago, and fortunate enough they was able to work with me and show me another way. They didn't know I had felonies, but at the same time, they knew I was eager to learn, and so they allowed me to learn under their guidance.
Christopher wasn't just successful, he was respected. Every month, he traveled across North Carolina, Tennessee, and South Carolina, hosting free seminars. Students paid thousands to learn from him over 4-month programs.
This is Chris Pugh, founder of the Pugh Builders GC Academy. If you've answered yes to any one of those questions, then we have what you're looking for at the Pugh Builders GC Academy. So get ready for the Pugh Builders GC Academy Seminar Tour.
Coming to a city near you.
When Teresa and Christopher came together, they appeared to create something magical. Their social media told a love story that made others envious. Photos showed them embracing at church events, laughing at family barbecues, celebrating their grandchildren's achievements. Their granddaughter, Dina, was heading to North Carolina A&T University, and Teresa couldn't stop talking about it with pride. In one of their joint videos, their dynamic was on full display.
Look who I got with me today. The mister. It is hot. It's crap out here. I thought I'd get him out the house today. Ride around a little bit. We're going for dinner. We got a couple places we got invited to. Sunday evening, or afternoon rather. And we're going to DeMarcus' house. Then we're going to Mother house. We got out yesterday. We went to a funeral yesterday. And that was all day. Wasn't it, Christopher?
Yep.
Why are you so quiet? Used to you be right, yap.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I know. But yesterday was, oh my gosh. We drove and rode and rode and rode. It was a long day. And then we got back and I went to a pool party. I didn't dress out and I kept on my dress and went right on over there. It was nice though. Once I got there, I wish I had taken a bathing suit, but I was too tired of missing that pool yesterday. I did good to even go.
This was the couple that everyone knew. Teresa as the vibrant communicator, Christopher as the quiet, supportive husband. The couple hosted parties so massive that cars lined their entire street in Spring Creek Estates. Neighbors grew accustomed to the gatherings.
You guys are so sweet. Thank you guys. Yes.
We're gonna have to sing out.
We're all sitting here eating hibachi.
Family members saw them as the gold standard.
You would never, like, my papa he never yelled at us, or like, there's no way you would suspect it. Like, he never yelled at us, whooped us, none of that.
He wasn't violent at all.
You can't even say you seen him mad, because I could count on my hand how many times he was mad one hand.
In front of us, like, none of that.
But cameras capture what we want them to capture, and social media shows what people choose to reveal. By early 2025, cracks began to appear in what everyone believed was a perfect marriage, but they were so subtle that no one recognized them as warning signs until it was far too late. Teresa's YouTube uploads, once consistent and frequent, started to slow down dramatically. Where she once posted weekly, gaps stretched to months. When she did appear on camera, the changes were barely noticeable unless you knew what to look for. Her energy, while still present, seemed more forced than natural. In one video from late 2024, just months before her death, Teresa opened up about struggles she'd been facing.
Hey girlfriend, hope all is well with you. Somebody is mowing, I think, the grass beside the road or something, so it might be a little bit loud. So I just came back from the doctor. Everything was all good. Everything was great. Blood work, everything looks excellent. I'm so happy. However, I tell you, I was going through a little bit of depression, anxiety, and just a lot of things, going on, just a lot. My mom is now in the hospital. My aunt had surgery last Wednesday or Thursday. She almost died. Like, she really was in serious condition. She lived in California. My grandma had a surgery last Friday. She had to go into emergency surgery. Everybody's been rushed into emergency surgery. It's crazy. Or hospitalized in some kind of way. So I was talking to my doctor. Oh, I got my prescriptions already. And I talk to my doctor about everything, like everything. We talk. He's really, I tell you, my doctor is excellent. So we were talking, and so he asked me how was I doing with, anxiety. He's like, I know you've been going through a lot, and, because Chris, he's also Chris' doctor. So, he know about a lot of stuff that's been going on. So he was like, how are you doing? He know that I suffer from anxiety and stuff like that. So I was already on, I forgot the name of it. I can't think of the name of it right now. But I tell you, I take, medicine for anxiety sometimes, and it gets really, really, lately it's been really bad. I would say for the last probably like 2 to 3 months, because there was other stuff going on, before, well, no, April I was doing good, but I have these battles sometimes, and honestly, I've thought about death, and you know how, like, sometimes you be going through so much that you just ask yourself sometimes, like, would it be better off if I wasn't here? Not that I'm going to do anything to myself. I'm not doing anything to myself, but I think about, just because sometimes I just be under so much pressure, strain, stress, that, sometimes I really think about, just would it be better if I wasn't here, or something like that. And he was like, those are thoughts that you don't want to be having. And so he recommended something else that's because what I'm currently on works for the moment. Like, it works like right now. It'll, help things to calm down and be okay.
This video is haunting to watch now. Teresa was clearly struggling with depression and anxiety, admitting to thoughts about death while being careful to clarify she wasn't planning to harm herself. She mentioned going through a lot and experiencing pressure, strain, stress, but never specified what exactly was causing these feelings. Her doctor had even adjusted her medication because her anxiety had gotten really, really bad over the past few months. What's most telling is how she mentioned that her doctor knew about a lot of stuff that's been going on because he was also Christopher's doctor. This suggests there were ongoing issues that both she and Christopher were dealing with, issues significant enough that their shared physician was aware of the strain on Teresa. Christopher's transformation was even more dramatic, but in the opposite direction. The man who had once been vocal and present in Teresa's videos became increasingly silent. In that December video, Teresa repeatedly tried to draw him into conversation.
This is all he does is smile now. And used to, why you not saying nothing? Why you not saying anything?
You're soaking it all in.
Soaking it all. What you soaking in, honey?
The rays.
The rays. Oh yeah, it is hot. It's hot out here today.
The contrast is stark. Teresa, ever the communicator, trying to fill the silence while Christopher offered only minimal responses. She even commented on how unusual his quietness had become. "Not used to you being quiet," she pressed. But still, he remained largely mute. This video also revealed that Christopher had recently suffered his second stroke. The conversation between them about his recovery provides crucial insight into both his physical and mental state.
How you feeling these days, honey?
Yeah, I'm feeling all right. Feeling all right. Slowly getting it back together.
Slowly getting it back together.
Yeah.
It's been a little process this time, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, I decided I won't go rush the process this time.
That's good. That's good, because last time he hopped back out. He came out the hospital the day he was out tomorrow. He checked himself out and hit the road. Didn't even stop. But I think you paid for it in the long run, though, didn't you?
Yeah.
Just like, or you just realized that you didn't give yourself time to heal.
Yeah.
Yeah, these bodies ain't young as they used to be. Can't bounce back as quick, so we definitely have to listen to our bodies and, ease your way back into the routine.
Teresa went on to explain how Christopher's health issues had affected their dynamic.
I'll tell you what has been different. Having you home every day for like a month. He gives us a sneak into his retirement, what it's going to be like. Oh, we've been chilling though. We allow each other space, right?
Right.
So, we be in our own little world. We come together, we eat, we, communicate, have our little moment together. Then we back off in our own little world. And I don't know. I think that's healthy. I think we've always kind of done that though. So it's kind of healthy. I think it's just been a little different for me, not having you as active and boisterous and stuff like that. That's been challenging for me. Just you're not talking like now. He's a man of few words, and usually he's a man of many, many, many words.
Here was Teresa trying to rationalize Christopher's dramatic personality change. The man who was usually a man of many, many, many words had become someone of few words. She found this challenging and admitted it was different for her. Yet she tried to frame it positively, suggesting they were giving each other space and that this might be healthy. But Christopher's response to why he didn't communicate when he was feeling unwell was chilling.
Why you don't say something when you're feeling some kind of way or you're not quite up to par? Why? Why I gotta guess?
I don't know, because I guess I don't, because, you have illnesses or you don't feel like doing something, all through your life.
Yeah, but...
And so I just didn't account for getting older. You gotta, be more conscious of things. And that's the little period I'm in, having to be more conscious and aware.
Teresa was essentially begging Christopher to communicate with her, to tell her when something was wrong, instead of forcing her to guess. His response revealed a man who was withdrawing not just physically, but emotionally. He was becoming more conscious than aware, a phrase that suggests he was turning inward, processing things alone rather than sharing them with his wife. Meanwhile, Christopher's business was facing the same pressures hitting the entire construction industry. Rising costs, labor shortages, market uncertainty, all factors that could add tremendous stress to someone already dealing with health issues and recovery from multiple strokes. His social media posts about America's housing crisis began taking on a different tone, more urgent, more frustrated. The man who once confidently proclaimed he could help build the 7.3 million housing units America needed now seemed overwhelmed by the magnitude of the problems facing his industry. By early 2025, Teresa's uploads had slowed to a trickle. When she did appear on camera, she was almost always alone. The man who had once sat quietly beside her was now absent altogether. Teresa filmed solo, talking to her audience about makeup and hairstyles, but even her most loyal followers began noticing the change in her energy. In one particularly revealing moment, Teresa had posted about her birthday, trying to maintain her usual upbeat tone.
Hey y'all, so it is your girl's 54th birthday. I am so thankful and so grateful to be amongst the living. I am excited. I'm happy about life itself, and I just want to say thank you so much for all the birthday wishes. I am trying my best to tell everybody thank you. If I don't get around to it, then just don't charge it to my heart, charge it to your girl brain, because you know I don't mean to exclude anybody. I love you all. Thank you to everybody.
But then she continued with something much more revealing.
Oh, wait a minute, it's my birthday, so I can do multiple posts today, right? So let me go back and say this. I thank God. I know I thank him, but let me properly thank God. Life has been full of challenges. However, God is being good through it all. He's still good. He's still taking us through. He is still amazing. No matter what. And I've been through a lot. I would tell you, 2020 started my ups and downs. I'm not going to say that. You know, it goes further than that. But 2020, I was tested in a way I've never been tested before. Because when you lose a child, it's nothing like it. I'm telling you.
Even on her birthday, Teresa couldn't maintain the facade of happiness for long. She admitted that life had been full of challenges and that she'd been through a lot. The phrase ups and downs began appearing more frequently in her content, always said with a smile, always followed by fashion tips or family updates, but the repetition was telling.
Yesterday, a man said to me, he said, "How can you smile when your world is tumbling down?" I said, "It's my secret. When I want to cry, I take a look around and I see that I'm getting by and I hold on." Girl, do you feel that? I feel that.
What makes Teresa's final post so tragic is how hard she tried to maintain positivity while clearly struggling. She continued posting inspirational content, encouraging other women to take care of themselves, to push through difficult times, to do what you can. But her own pain was becoming harder to hide. In one of her final videos about self-care and fitness, she shared something particularly poignant.
Everybody wants to know, did I use Ozempic? I'm excited about 2 pounds I had were not the right trends. You have to be serious. It really was not losing that much weight that fast, or just really not losing that much weight, but I was gaining something about it. So that's why being real with yourself and getting real with yourself is so important. Ever want to lose weight or be better for somebody else, do it for you, because you deserve to be your best. And you know, and if you keep tracking, you will see where you would just, it kind of has been all over the place. But this is talking about how I lost weight.
Teresa was giving advice she desperately needed to follow herself. But by then, it may have already been too late. Christopher stopped appearing in her videos entirely. The couple that had once shared their life so openly with the world was now fragmented. Teresa filming alone, Christopher absent, both of them dealing with their struggles in isolation rather than together. March 22nd, 2025 began like any other Saturday in Spring Creek Estates. The neighborhood woke to a typical weekend morning. Neighbors tending yards, children playing, the normal rhythm of suburban life continuing without any sign of the horror that would unfold by nightfall. As evening approached on March 22nd, 2025, Spring Creek Estates settled into its typical Saturday night routine. Porch lights flickered on, families gathered for dinner, and the quiet suburban street prepared for another peaceful night. At 10 Cheney Drive, however, something catastrophic was about to unfold. At 6:45 p.m., the Johnston County Sheriff's Office Dispatch Center received a call that would change everything. The caller said nothing before hanging up, which immediately prompted 911 communications to call the number back. When they did, a man answered the phone, Christopher Pugh, saying he did not call 911. But the dispatcher heard something that made their blood run cold. In the background, a woman's voice could be heard saying, "Why do you want to kill me? I need help." That woman was Teresa Adams-Pugh, and those would be among the last words anyone would ever hear her speak. When deputies arrived at the scene, they heard what they would later describe as a gunshot from inside the home. The situation escalated immediately. More units were called. The Johnston County Sheriff's tactical team was deployed. What had started as a domestic disturbance call was now a potential hostage situation. But there was a problem, one that would later spark outrage in the community. North Carolina law required a search warrant before officers could enter the home, even with gunshots heard, even with a woman's plea for help on record.
The legal process had to be followed. For hours, law enforcement waited outside while neighbors watched from their windows in confusion and growing horror.
Every 5-10 minutes, they would blow the blowhorn and announce, their names, specifically by name, and asking them to come out if they could with their hands up. When there was no activity, it's like, this isn't good.
Another neighbor recalled the moment they realized something was seriously wrong.
I pulled up my Ring doorbell, and an officer was approaching, just telling me, please do not come home. He wouldn't tell me what was going on, but just said, just don't come home and I will let you know when it is.
The standoff continued through the evening. Negotiators repeatedly attempted to establish communication with Christopher inside the home, but their efforts were met with silence. The tactical team remained positioned around the house, waiting for the legal authorization they needed to enter. Finally, after what felt like an eternity to both law enforcement and the growing crowd of concerned neighbors, authorities obtained their search warrant. The Johnston County Sheriff's Office tactical team prepared to breach the home that had hosted so many joyful family gatherings. When they entered 10 Cheney Drive, they found the conclusion that the earlier gunshot had already suggested. Christopher Pugh and Teresa Adams-Pugh were both deceased from apparent gunshot wounds. The investigation would officially classify it as a domestic violence incident, where Christopher had taken both their lives. The home that Teresa had decorated with such care every Christmas, the place where cars lined the street during massive family celebrations, was now a crime scene. The woman who had spent years encouraging others to embrace their beauty and potential would never post another video. The man who had built homes for others had destroyed his own in the most final way possible. The news spread through Spring Creek Estates like wildfire. Neighbors who had slept through the initial police response woke to find news vans and crime tapes surrounding a house they'd seen as the epitome of suburban success. The family's shock was genuine and complete. Marion Shaw, Teresa's mother, received the call that no parent should ever get. The daughter who had been the life of our family party was gone, taken by the son-in-law who everyone believed adored her.
No signs, but you never really know from the outside looking in what's going on. And who knows, he might have, just had an out-of-body experience at that time where he could not pump the brakes on his anger if they were arguing.
Even more shocking was the family's revelation that they didn't even know Christopher owned a gun. 20 years of marriage, countless family gatherings, and no one had any idea that a weapon was present in the home. Crime scene investigators processed 10 Cheney Drive methodically, searching for answers that might explain the inexplicable. They recovered the weapon, photographed everything, and looked for any note or explanation that might provide insight into Christopher's mindset. No letter was found. Christopher Pugh left no final words, no justification, no window into what drove him to such devastating action. The digital investigation began immediately. Phones, computers, social media accounts, somewhere in the data, investigators hoped to find answers. But what they discovered only deepened the mystery. Financial records showed no crisis. There were no massive debts, no bankruptcy filings, no financial trigger that could explain what happened. In the days following the tragedy, people began looking back at Teresa's recent posts with new eyes. Comments that had seemed innocuous at the time now felt prophetic. "Pray for us," she'd written to one church friend, "going through some things," to another. But Teresa's legacy extends far beyond the tragedy of her final moments. Her YouTube channel remains online, a testament to her mission of empowering women over 50. Comments continue to appear on her videos. "Thank you for the confidence. You inspired me. Rest in peace, beautiful soul." Her family chose to celebrate who she was rather than how she died. On what would have been her 55th birthday, they gathered at her grave wearing her favorite colors, playing her music, dancing like she had taught them to dance, with joy despite pain. Teresa's granddaughter, Teresa Adams-Pugh, dedicated her college graduation to both grandparents. She spoke about Teresa's push for excellence, her belief in education, her love that demanded the best from everyone. The grandmother, who had planned to watch her walk across that stage, was there in spirit. A foundation in Teresa's name has been proposed to support women over 50 who want to return to work, helping them find confidence, build skills, and embrace change. Carrying forward Teresa's message that it's never too late to reinvent yourself. But the questions remain haunting. How does someone move from building lives to ending them? What drives a person who spent decades creating homes and teaching others to completely destroy his own? The Pugh case forces us to confront uncomfortable truths about domestic violence. It can hide behind success, behind social media perfection, behind 20 years of what appears to be a loving marriage. Economic stress, health issues, and social isolation can create a deadly combination, especially when combined with access to firearms. The warning signs were there, but they were subtle and easily explained away. Teresa's increasing anxiety and depression, Christopher's withdrawal from social situations and growing silence, the gradual isolation from their previously vibrant social media presence, his health struggles and business pressures, her hints about going through things without ever specifying what those things were. But recognizing these signs requires more than hindsight. The Teresa Adams-Pugh case teaches us that success, social media perfection, and 20 years of marriage don't protect anyone from domestic violence. It shows us that the most dangerous moments often happen when no one's watching, and that silence itself can be a scream for help. Remember Teresa Adams-Pugh for her joy, her inspiration, and her belief that everyone deserves to be their best. Remember that behind every perfect image, real people face real struggles. And remember that sometimes saving a life is as simple as asking someone if they're okay and actually waiting for an honest answer. May your families stay safe. May you have the courage to seek help when you need it. May we all do better. So that's it for today's video. Stay safe out there, and I hope these stories help you recognize warning signs and encourage you to seek help or offer support before it's too late. I'll see you in the next episode of Crime of Passion. Thank you for watching.